So, so what you have is really, you are, I just have uh, a thought as you were talking about, putting the thousands of hours of work. I mean, this work that you're doing, you're building this whole thing. So when we did our first recording, it was over a year ago. And so since then, you've been doing this, and I'm sure before you started before.
Yeah, I
Um,
disappeared for like the last year and a half. That's true.
yeah. So the amount of time and money you spend, they say everything is for sale for the right price. I wonder if it would have been possible to buy one of those guys who work at Amazon and develop that search A9 algorithm. What, do you think you could bribe them into doing whatever?
You don't necessarily need to bribe. So one of the things that I thought was extremely smart is the CEO for the agency for Canopy Management. He looked at some of the retiring executives from Amazon, and one of the ones that he was able to hire and consulted with us for a year, he had he had like 16 patents on the product detail page, and the content team and how everything was structured and what the focus is of the design team for doing SEO, listing optimization and creation was based off of what he taught us about how the algorithm looks at and what the timing is and how long consumers stay on this element and this element, what they where their eye gets drawn to them, like all these different factors. So that is a brilliant move, and it has actually worked for,
Oh,
it does work. Is if nothing else to get some consulting insights. As far as like, okay, how does this
sure.
work, and what's more important here, A or B? So I that absolutely, yeah, it's we
Well, I
we
mean,
still have our blind spots. There are still blind spots that can't be observed externally as far as the specific conversion rate. There's a lot of clues that are the breadcrumb trail, the clues that are left around where we can do some estimation of sales velocity and conversion rate at the search term level, and these kinds of things among a competitive set. And so we are continuing to tune how we estimate those. um, but yeah, there's always going to still be some blind spots for any technology or system.
yeah. So, so ultimately, what your technology will do is show people how to move on page one, and then stay there, and then also do that on a collection of search terms and everything else, right?
Yeah, the outcome is to increase sales, really. Increase sales the uh, because the product shows up for search terms very highly in organic search, and doing that without the need to go heavy into advertising. Now, anytime you're using, I mean, advertising is just one lever, right? Among multiple things that you can do in order to improve sales velocity, to improve all these different factors, right? So we want to take a holistic look at, like, okay, what are the top factors and what are all the factors that can easily be influenced? Because even if you can get a 1% increase in one factor that is minor, that's still a 1% increase, right?
Sure.
If you can move, something from a 15% impact, and you got a kind of a 15% quality score, let's say, right? It's all relative to your competition. So the important part on that is it's not that there's one magic bullet. There's not one magic metric that it's like, well, I've got to hit, 80% optimized in my title for, for density and relevance. It's like, no, if your competition is at 79%, then you need to be at 80%. If they're at 50%, you need to be at 51%. That's
Yeah, yeah.
that's what it comes down to, right?
Well,
Don't blow a whole bunch of time on something that doesn't matter, on
yeah,
your listing.
exactly.